Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is July 26th, 2023. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. The vibes are right, they're tight. Obviously, very sweaty, but I feel like that's most of the world right now. I feel like everything's on fire. Fire, fire, fire. So. Hopefully you're doing well though. Hopefully you're hanging in there. Hopefully you're staying hydrated, nice and cool, collected even. Let's see. Food corner. I made a beef and rice bowl and it was yummy. Was it anything out of the ordinary? No, not really. It was pretty textbook. I had my beef, had my bacon, had my rice. We had the tortillas. They were nice and hot. I didn't like scorch them this time. My toaster oven has been a little bit wonky on my temps. I don't know why. But it's getting back in the groove. I'm getting back in the groove, and it's nice. It feels good. Let's see here. Is there anything else to report? Oh, I weighed myself on this scale. I did my little weekly weighing. Sadly, not too much progress, but I am going to call it progress. I think now I might have netted about 1 or 2 pound loss. So that's good. That's good. Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. That being said, I do think in a lot of ways, I'm just going to have to curb my enthusiasm here. Like, I'm doing this to kind of maintain where we're at. Because I am trying, I'm trying to do my little workouts and stuff, but it's just so hard to like find the time or the energy to really like put in more than what I'm already doing. So, to an extent, I am kind of getting back to that contentment zone, whatever. But I'm okay with it. I'm at peace with it. And hopefully I can, knock a couple more pounds down, kind of keeping at it this way. And also I hope that the overall dub I'm going to come out of the summer with is like, hey, less treats. Like, we just can't treat ourselves as much as I want to, And not just in food, but also beverage. I feel like I've been, for the past like couple years, I've been treating like beer, alcohol as like a free space. Like, yeah, whatever. It's not water, sure. But like, it's not, I don't know. Yeah, so I just realized like it's like you're drinking liquid bread. It's not good for you. You have to scale it down. I'm not saying get rid of it. I'm not saying become a teetotaler or anything. Just, just one a day. Maybe have a cheat night with the homies, and that's been good. That's been good so far. So yay. Let's see here. Let's get into the news. I've been kind of pushing around here. Well, I'm gonna do my classic pregame. There we go. All right, all right, all right. Okay. From Reuters. Tearful Kevin Spacey humbled by acquittal on all sex charges in London trial. So, like I said, I wanted to give you guys an update when we finally got to the end of the trial, and we have. Gotta say, I am surprised by the verdict. A tearful Kevin Spacey said he was humbled after a jury in a London court found him not guilty on Wednesday of carrying out multiple sex assaults on 4 men. After 12 hours and 26 minutes of deliberation, the jury acquitted the Oscar-winning U.S. actor by majority on 9 charges, which he was accused of committing between 2004 and 2013, at a time when he was working at London's Old Vic Theatre. Spacey, who was celebrating his 64th birthday on Wednesday, began to cry and mouth "thank you" to the 9 men and women and 3 women jurors, or 9 men and 3 women jurors, before wiping away tears with a tissue. Now, let's see here. He does a little bit of glad handing, talks to like the jurors. Even someone's like, "Oh, I love you, Kevin," which I wow, like you know who this guy is? Like, that's crazy. And don't get me wrong, like because I've had these thoughts too. Like, I remember when the shit just broke out. I want to say I had wound up recently from that point watching Baby Driver, and I remember being like, man, Baby Driver was so fucking good, and Kevin Spacey ruined it. He ruined it just by existing. I'm so mad. But like, I'm all for, if you want to say, like, yeah, like, his body of work is good, whatever, but like, it's crazy to do any kind of defending or being like giving big ups to like Kevin Spacey in this time period post the allegations. But let's see. Prosecutors described him as a sexual bully who aggressively groped three of the men, and performed oral sex on the fourth while he was passed out in Spacey's London apartment. And I feel like Spacey, throughout all the allegations, has been like, even, since back in the States with, I believe, Anthony Rapp, has more or less just used like being gay as like his defense. And he like boom flipped it. Like, he was like, okay. I hear the Me Too allegations. I hear it. But what if I told you I'm gay? And it's just like, everyone's like, oh, all right, that's fine. In this day and age, that's okay. But like, groping people, sexual assault, that's not okay. So, maybe we should like deal with that. But in a crazy way, despite all the allegations, even with Rapp, he beat that case. It seems here he beat it too. I would say the one highlight that I kind of picked up on, kind of listening, in and out, was apparently there were people who kind of came out as defense, and it was a star-studded, ensemble. Hearing Elton John come to his defense was wild, was crazy. But that being said, Elton John, to his defense, did come out to say, like, oh, he didn't do it. He just merely said, like, look, Kevin Spacey was at my home. He was partying with me, hanging out. He was one of many people at this party. He even crashed at my house. And that's relevant because for one of the people accusing him, they apparently got the dates wrong, and that didn't line up. So that's something that I can see being like, oh, that's something in Spacey's favor, at least according to the jury. And maybe these things not lining up worked out in Kevin Spacey's favor. And, I don't know. Maybe they were all starstruck. I have no fucking idea. But that being said, yeah, my dude beat the allegations. He beat the fucking case. That's crazy. I don't want to say my guy. He's not my guy. That being said, still like Baby Driver. The House of Cards was fucking great. Oh my fucking god. I was salty that he got let go. I'm not salty he got let go. That's the wrong choice of words. It's just like, damn, like, I really wish we could fucking finish that shit the way it should have been. But I get it. I understand. He was also let go from other movies. I fucking get that. But yeah, Val Kilmer came to his defense, Judi Dench, and as well as Elton John. So that was fucking crazy. As for what's next for Spacey, I don't fucking know. I really hope he can just do everyone a favor and just kind of fade into obscurity, at least at the very least. But yeah, it's crazy. Like I said, I'm very surprised. I thought maybe he might not get fully hit here, but there's gonna be something that's gonna stick to him, and nope. All right, let's go ahead and move along though. Not that the next news is any better. Sadly, I mean, it's lost a life, so yeah. NPR. Obama's personal chef dies while paddleboarding in Martha's Vineyard. A personal chef to the Obama family drowned while paddleboarding in Martha's Vineyard, police confirmed on Monday. The body of Tafari Campbell, 45 years old, of Dumfries, Virginia, was uncovered after a two-day search in Edgartown, Great Pond, near a home owned by the Obamas. The Massachusetts State Police said the former president and first lady were not present at the time of the drowning. Campbell had served as a White House sous chef during Barack Obama's presidency and left in 2016 to work for the former president and his wife. So they've described him as, quote unquote, a beloved part of the family. They're really sad about the loss, but apparently another paddleboarder had seen him. They had witnessed it and saw that, like, hold on, let's see. Fellow paddleboarder observed him dip into the water, reappear briefly, struggling to stay on the surface, then submerge entirely, according to a police statement. They were able to, after, doing a recovery effort, they, did recover his body. The chef leaves behind his wife and twin sons. So, I will say this: I'm glad that there wasn't a big conspiracy over this kind of shit. In this day and age, like the QAnon style type of rhetoric or narratization of a thing, like something like that could have spread like wildfire. So I'm glad that it didn't. I don't know. I can't imagine being in that kind of situation. And as a family, like you just hear that kind of news, it's like it just seemed like it was just gonna be an ordinary, normal day, and the next thing you know, like the person you love or care about is just fucking gone. Just from a hobby. It's just crazy. It's sad. But yeah, sometimes you just cover some news and it's just a bummer, but you just gotta keep on marching on. So, what's on next? What's on the menu? Whales. More whales. Okay, yes. CNN. Dozens of whales die in mass stranding in Western Australia. So, yeah, more whales. You know me, when I see a little bit of a weird trend or whatever, I can't help myself but just talk about it on the pod, whether it's trains, whether it's planes, or it's fucking whales. More than 50 whales have died in a mass stranding event in Western Australia as officials and volunteers race to save dozens of others stuck in shallow waters, authorities said Wednesday. In a statement on Facebook, the Parks and Wildlife Service of Western Australia said a large pod of long-finned pilot whales were spotted Tuesday morning near the state's southern coast. Sadly, 51 whales have died overnight after a mass stranding at Cheynes Bay, adding that staff and hundreds of volunteers were trying to save 46 other whales by returning them to deep water. So that is the good news at the end here about the 46 other whales. Obviously, it's really fucking sad. Another silver lining that I've heard mentioned is that this is one of the rare occurrences where we get to see the pod pre-stranding. And in this situation, they were doing something that was very odd, that they were all huddling. And, it is still the situation of like, well, maybe there was like some kind of mass illness. Maybe there was just one or two of the whales that were distracted or disoriented or scared because they thought they saw a predator, and that's why they were doing the huddling. But at least they have some footage to kind of work with here, and that's key. In the other situation, we talked about a whale that was having problems, with birth, and that one whale, they were waiting for that whale, and they kind of gotten, into a situation where they wound up getting stranded and died. So, at least there's a chance for more research. So there's, potential that we can learn and maybe like help affect these in a positive way so we can help these whales out so they don't get stranded. But, yeah, definitely still a bummer all the same. I did learn that these pilot whales are like more like dolphins than whales, and that one of their predators is killer whales. So that's pretty crazy, pretty sad. But, it's the circle of life. And it moves us all. Okay, all right, I'm done. All right, we have one more story to cover, and it's about another animal. Cops. No, dogs. Let me take my break, and then we'll talk about it. Ooh. Also, I need the long-time listeners to know these are still shirts off pods. These are still sweaty pods. No fan, no AC. I just want to throw that out there, that we haven't changed, that we still have our roots. Okay. All right. Ooh. Okie dokie. from ABC News. Ohio canine officer fired after his police dog attacked surrendering suspect. So this is an update on the Jadarius Rose incident, but more emphasis on the canine and the canine officer Ryan Speakman. Essentially, I'd heard maybe Monday, Tuesday via notifications that he was put on leave. So it was like finally, because I talk shit. I'm like, look, if we don't know, that means he's still on. And technically, I was fucking right because they didn't announce it until Monday, aka they probably were still thinking about it. That being said, they surprised me and they fucking sacked him. So yeah, kudos, good job. This is a dub. This is silver lining. So yeah, he was sacked for the situation, and I'll do a quick rerun down. Essentially, Rhodes, and I found this out in the article. He was a trucker. The reason they pulled him over was like a mud flap was missing on his truck, so they were pulling him over for that, and they wanted to hassle him for it. But Rose said that he was scared because they had guns out and everything. So he's like, oh shit. He pulls out and starts, driving. He calls dispatch and 911. And then, the cops obviously ensue chasing him. Now, that's, that matters, obviously. He's still on the hook for failure to comply. So that's relevant. But that being said, I'm happy that, the police force said, look, let's look at the situation. We told this guy, we had people on the team. We had, motherfuckers saying, if he has his hands up, don't fucking put the dog on him. And what does Speakman do? He lets him go, and he sicks him on him. This wasn't an accident. It's annoying here that I feel like there's maybe part of this conversation where it's just like, oh, this is a little bit of an oops-a-daisy or whatever. No. He was told clear, direct instruction. Don't let the dog out on him if he has his hands up, if he's surrendering. And that's what Rose did. He literally puts his hands up. He complies with the cop and is on the ground. And the next thing you know, he's getting bit for 10 to 20 seconds. And then on top of it, they had to pull the dog off of him. You know what I mean? And in the other article, it's described that Ryan comes up, apprehends Rose, aka does the whole cop beat bullshit, then tends to the dog. So to me, that's fucked up. That's not right. That's not humane treatment of someone you're trying to apprehend. That's not how you protect and fucking serve. So I'm glad that they at least did this, but let me read a little bit here. The officer was let go despite the review board concluding that the department's policy for the use of canines was followed in the apprehension and arrest, which I'm like, how does that fucking work? How does the review board see the tape and go, oh no, everything was protocol here? Now, what is it? Centerville's police tries to offer a little bit of insight. Oh, excuse me, sorry. It's important to understand that the review board is charged only with determining whether an employee's actions is in use of force incident were within department policies and procedures. So, aka, it's look, they're only saying that, this made sense for them to use the dog. But clearly, if there's an officer telling you, no, there's no reason to use a dog here, don't use the dog. How, Sway? Make it make sense. I just don't get it. Also, we have an appearance from Governor Mike DeWine, Ohio staple. Also, I love Mike DeWine because he's a Republican, right? So I don't love Mike DeWine. But I kind of like Mike DeWine because, the average Ohio guy you ask, especially, the average, conservative guy, hates Mike DeWine. They fucking hate him. Because, as far as they're concerned, he's a fucking, I feel like they treat him like he's a class traitor. It's so funny. It's so funny. Like, essentially all this guy did was like, hey, maybe we should like believe in science and like follow like protocols on COVID. And literally like Ohioans lost their mind. They wanted to like blow this man's world up. They hated him. I have coworkers like coming to me like they've told me stories like how much they just loathe him. And that gives me joy in a way. That being said, he's not an ally, he's not our friend, but I just love that. I do love that. He was just like, yo, maybe we should listen to science. Like, I'm an old dude, I don't want to get fucking sick. And they're like, boo this man. I want to go outside right now. Fuck masks. But he was talking about the training, saying like, hey, the canine training might be bad. We need to work on the training for the cops. Both have been like disputed by like, I think like the Philadelphia, Pittsburgh group that trained the dog. Also the dog's whereabouts in terms of like, is the dog retired or not? That we don't know yet. That's in the wind. They haven't responded to that. But, also on the other end of this, there was a Black Lives Matter or BLM protest that was announced outside of the Circleville Police Department. And that's obviously big news. I do feel in some ways like the firing of Speakman kind of like cuts some of the sting out on that, which I don't know if that was tactical or not for the reason for the season, but you know, that being said, I'll take it. But that being said, they are asking for more than just that. They also want the dog to be retired. They want the police chief to be retired. What else was there? There was something else. My mind's now fogging me on it. They want someone else to be fired too. But I don't think that's going to happen though. That being said, I do get the sentiment though. I do understand it. But I am just happy to at least see that, like, hey, the Speakman guy who literally just was not listening to just literal commands his dog. Oh, and with the dog, they wanted the dog to be retired because of the fact that it's like, look, the dog didn't, like, obey commands. And also something I mentioned in the other article where it's like the dog initially was going to try to attack a trooper. At least I believe I mentioned in the other article. I might have skimmed over that. But I was like, oh, like the dog initially beeline for the trooper. Then after more correction goes, oh no, I'm supposed to go for Rose, and then beelines to Rose and then bites him. So they were saying for that, like the dog needs to be retired. He needs to be let go. Like the chief needs to be let go. I don't think the chief is going to be let go. Honestly, I think that's a bit lofty. But I do get the idea of saying like, hey, we need to be out here. We need to have like a presence because this was not right. This was not. Oh, there you go. I missed the other half of it. They also want Rose's charges to be dropped, which I do not think is going to happen. The failure to comply thing, even though he called 911 to explain himself, and I get it. As a black man, I totally fucking get it. Like, you are scared. And if these motherfuckers have their guns out, you don't want to be, you know, the next Tyree Nichols. You don't want to be the next Rodney King. You don't want to get murdered today. I understand the fear. I also understand that it's like, look, I'm in the dice roll of my life right now, and I'm just going to be as compliant as I can. That's all I can do. Because if I even twitch wrong, they're going to blow my brains out, and it's going to be my fault somehow. They don't even have to sprinkle crack on my face. So that's just where I'm at with it. That's the story as I know it. I'm hot and sweaty now, and my brain is melting. So I think I'm gonna call it an episode there. Yeah. But that's all I got for today. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to me. That's crazy. That's wild. I do have to chill a little bit, but patreon.com/Isaiah News. If you'd like to support financially, that will be great. You do become a newsie, and that's pretty cool. I shout you out at the top of the podcast. Also shout out a project thing you're doing or whatever, you know, you'd like me to maybe shout out. I can do that. That's an option for you. Let's see. If you'd like to give me feedback, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Hopefully it's positive feedback. I might not get back to you if it's negative. But let's see. Facebook, Twitter, all the socials. You can find me on them. I'm there. I'm chronically online. It's tragic. But feel free to comment, DM, I don't know, do your thing. But if you have a YouTube account thing, if you use the YouTube, if you don't use the YouTube, just go subscribe to my YouTube. Please do that. Thumbs up on the episodes, would you kindly? Comments are always welcome and great. Also, if you're on, Spotify or Apple, thanks for listening. That's dope. That's pretty fucking cool. Give me the stars. I love the full reviews. Those are great. But yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being a friend. And hopefully I'll see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.